It all began in 2011 when Mohamed Bouazizi, a Tunisian fruit seller struggling to make a living, doused himself in petrol and lit himself on fire after being harassed and beaten by police. His death sparked protests that have forever changed North Africa and the Middle East. The demonstrations soon forced President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali out of office. 9 months later, Tunisians held their first free elections and chose members of parliament who would rewrite the constitution.
There is nothing stronger than that feeling of voting. I passed my exams, I had children, but there is nothing as strong as that. I've never felt anything like that in all my 40 years. To decide the future of your country, there is nothing better than that.
Since then, the country has elected a new president and resorted to politics instead of violence to choose the country's future. But not all people inspired by the Arab Spring got the same results. In Egypt, calls for the ouster of Hosni Mubarak were answered, but the country's first democratically elected president, Mohamed Morsi, would be removed in a deadly military coup a year after taking office. The leader of that coup, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, has remained the leader of Egypt ever since.
This march is to support the legitimate president, Mohamed Morsi, against the traitor Sisi, who betrayed Morsi.
In Libya, the 42-year-long rule of Muammar Gaddafi came to a gruesome end. Libyans stood in line to see his body following his capture and execution. But years of fighting then broke out among rival militias. Today, the country remains divided, with multiple international actors intervening politically and militarily on one of two remaining sides. Warlord Khalifa Haftar and his militia have been trying to expand their power from eastern Libya. And the head of the UN-backed government in Tripoli, Fayez al-Sarraj, has been unable to achieve political unity. A fragile ceasefire is currently keeping the peace.
The members of the Security Council underlined the importance of credible and effective Libyan-led ceasefire monitoring mechanisms and look forward to a comprehensive report by the Secretary General on the proposal for effective ceasefire monitoring under the auspices of the United Nations.
Like Libyans and Egyptians, Yemenis also forced their longtime ruler to resign. But their country is divided by rival political factions and armed militias, and decades of civil war are continuing, leaving millions of Yemenis facing starvation.
Yemen remains one of the worst humanitarian crises that the world has ever seen. What is happening right now is that the window to prevent famine in the country is narrowing very fast. We are running out of time. The number of children that need treatment for acute malnutrition as I speak is about 2 million, with approximately 360,000 at risk of dying in case they don't get any treatment.
Syria's Bashar al-Assad is one of the few dictators to survive the Arab Spring. He's managed to largely crush opposition forces with help from Russia and Iran, while destroying large parts of Syria in the process. Half of Syria's population has had to flee their homes, and the economy is broken. Tunisia is considered the Arab Spring's success story, but even in Mohamed Bouazizi's hometown, people say the revolution hasn't met their expectations.
It didn't achieve all of its goals. Only some of the goals were achieved, for example, in regards to individual freedoms. But on the other hand, and more importantly, social and economic conditions have not improved, and these are the issues that really matter to people.
10 years later, young people in Tunisia are still struggling, just like Bouazizi struggled. Obeida Hito, TRT World.